Good times. I hope everybody's well. I hope everybody's doing okay. Let me get this closer right here. Okay. Perfect. We're gonna draw and paint a beach scene. I know in a previous video you actually drew it. You drew it, but this time we're gonna draw it lightly and then paint on it. So um, right here, this is what we drew last time. Right? I left it up to you to continue filling up the sand. Right? And we put the sun, right? And right over here, the rule of thirds and the horizon on the rule of thirds. Perfect. So let's quickly do this. And then if you need more time as a video, you could watch it again. I always emphasize that. Here's the two waters. And you could pause it or play the video as you need. Okay, so get your pencil, watercolor paper, and a few brushes if you have a few brushes, but one brush will do as always. Okay, so um, let's find this rule of thirds. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna show you a quick trick. I have shown you this before to find the rule of thirds and to place them in the paper. When you get a paper, if you notice, I've been folding them and cutting them in half. So I'm not going to speculate how much the measure here is, although I always say it could be around 6 to 9 inches. Okay. 6 to 9 inches. But this time, what I want to do is I want to replicate exactly the paper I have here in size, the same size, to show you something. So imagine I have two pieces of paper that are the same size, and one is my watercolor paper that I will use. My finger already has a little bit of paint. So when you fold your paper and you get your two pieces, I always emphasize, please keep a piece of paper to sketch, kind of do things around, okay? So this paper here is the same size as this one, you see? Okay, so this is the paper that I will fold or mark. And I'm gonna use this time use a ruler. So let's measure it. Let's see if it's 6 by 9. Yep, 9 by 6. So that means I divide this up here on 3 inches by 3 times. 9 divided by 3 is 3 inches. So every 3 and 6 inches every 3 and 6 inches. So now I have 3 parts. And this way, 6 is divided 3 times by 2 inches. So 2 inches in 2 and 4 inches in 4. Down here, same thing, 2 and 4. And all I have to do now is draw the lines that match each other. So right here and right here. right here. The number 3. All you have to find out, to be honest, on the rule of thirds, and watch my previous videos to find out what the rule of thirds exactly is. I have said this many times. Is this 4 points? It's here, 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 and here. Once you have that, when you look at your paper, you could actually get a sense of the 9 squares that you actually get. 9 squares. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. But look what I'm going to do now. I'm going to find this dot that I just did on the other side. I have them here, right, on this side. Now I'm going to do them. I'm going to find them on this side. Okay. By putting my paper against something that's bright, like a screen or a window, I can find them, and here they are. You see the 4 points. Careful with my watercolors. The orange color, if you notice, it's very messy and dirty, and it's dirty my paper. So just be aware of your colors. Where are they going? If they're going everywhere. So by having the 4 dots mark on both sides of the paper, now when I put my paper down, because it's the same size as this one, if I put it down on top of the other, look, and I go over my dot, it's gonna make an impression. Yep, and I can see it. It's here, 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 and here. So looking at these dots gives me a sense of where the other squares are. And this is the middle. And we're going to try to avoid putting things right in the middle, but anywhere else will work, or the dots, to create kind of like an interest balance. That's basically what the rule states. So you move things to the side, but not too much to the side. Okay. So just like in the drawing, we're going to use this line down here as our horizon. So you could use a ruler, right, to make the straight line, or you could use a piece of paper, because this piece of paper is also straight. You're not measuring, you're just drawing a straight line like this. That's my horizon for the beach. You know. All right. So I'll giving you time to do your marking your paper. Okay. That's the horizon. You know what I'm gonna do? It's okay. It's all right. It's it's okay. I'm gonna split this in half and do another line, because this is gonna be the horizon for the water, the ocean. But maybe down here, if I split this part in half, right, using my paper again to keep a straight line. This I'm gonna make it lighter, because this I don't want it to be too straight. So I make it lighter, and then I make it like kind of wavy. You see, I don't really care, because this is the shore where the waves break. Okay, so now we have the ocean, the sand, and where the water breaks. We're going to again put the sun. This time, instead of right on the dot, I'm going to put the sun in the middle of this um, rectangle or shape. By the way, you see I'm putting it right in the middle. By the way, the proportion of this, each one of these 9 um, rectangles follow the same proportion of the entire piece. See, like, so if you think about it, 2 inches by 3 inches is the same proportion as 6 by 9, you know. Anyway, I put the sun in this square. This is just so now you could put things in the squares to relate them. All right, so the palm tree lands right in this dot, and we have learned that we're gonna do 1, 2, kind of like a fan, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 leaves, 7 leaves for the palm tree. Okay. The palm tree trunk is curved, and the bottom is a little thicker. So you see the trunk goes curved, and the bottom is going to be thicker than up here. So I'm going to start thick, like that thick, and then I'm going to kind of come closer as I go up. You see how this distance is thinner than up here? Now I erase what's inside this trunk because the palm tree should be in front of it. Look, you see? Now the palm tree is in front of the water. And let's do the leaves. So the leaves of a palm tree, as you see in our previous drawing, you see, on both sides have this kind of like grass spike things. So you do one, and you do the tip coming out is very short, but then they grow. You see, they grow. The thing is, you need to do them on both sides. So if you do this side, we're going to do the other side. Okay. I want my camera to focus. Come on. But you, so let's start doing it. And it's very simple. It's a very simple scene. You see how I get closer, I make it smaller. So smaller, 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 bigger, bigger, bigger. Smaller, 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 bigger, bigger, bigger. And they can go over each other. The palm tree trunk too has smaller. The palm tree has these lines as it grows and develops. And I'm gonna do that in a moment. I'm not caring for the rest of this one because this one is hiding it. You see, so take that in mind. If one is on top of the other, you can hide it. But as you get closer to the tip, please make them smaller, like here. This should be smaller compared to way back here where they are thicker. And I don't complete it because you see. Okay. That's it. You could do like an oval or 2 as coconuts. I did 2, but these are the waves. Look, that I was talking about. The palm tree has as it develops. At the end, we'll do some birds But do those lines, and now I'm going to erase these dots. Maybe a bird will land in this exact dot. I don't know. It's for balance proportion purposes. But the fact that the horizon divides the page in a third, it's very good compositionally. Artwork, balanced pieces of work of art are full of geometrical shapes and fracture in parts. So basically, what I'm saying is that anything under the horizon in this picture right here is a third. One, two, three. It's a third of the paper. And just unconsciously that um, makes it more balanced and appealing to the eye. Same thing with the palm tree landing right at this dot. Remember? Okay, let's start painting. I just want to get started painting. But you see how the drawing is a little more simple than the one we did before here, where we shaded the water itself because we weren't going to color it. But this one we're going to color. And remember how I said to emphasize in the horizon the darkness of the water. You see, that provides us an illusion of depth. And yeah, let's not forget the land. So the land, actually, remember the land and the mountains back here ended, the edge ended right here at this dot on the third line. So basically where this stops, again, is a third of the paper. One, two, three. So let's do that. The point is here. I'm gonna go up and I do some mountains. You see, but unconsciously, because it's on the third, it's a little more balanced. Okay, so let's get started. We're gonna paint the things behind everything that's gonna be on top. So the palm tree will be on top. So we have to do the sky, the water, and the sand. And then remember the rule in watercolor where dark colors have to be last. Okay. Get your colors ready. Your tissue for spills or effects that you want to create. Okay. And I'm gonna go. You see how barely I have any blue? That's gonna be enough, and I know because I can control it. So I wet. I get that blue out of there. And the moment I put maybe too much blue, or then I grab my brush and I'm gonna get more water for it. So if I put blue like this, you see, and I think that's too much, what I have to do is grab more water and spread, making sure that I spread it. For the sky and the ocean, please move left to right or right to left. Follow that horizon, um, side to side effect. Okay. But control your pigment. Sometimes we put too much pigment, and to fix that, you could only stop picking up pigment and then pick up more water. And the water, you see in this corner, the water will spread that pigment around. Does that make sense? So if I were to put a lot of blue, what I have to do is spread it. And I spread it evenly with the water and getting those leaves. If you need more blue in one area, go and put it. But you get the idea. I can use the same blue for my ocean. I just keep it a little darker, so I'll use less. It's not that I use less water, it's that I'll make sure that I have more pigment. And it's important both sides, because it's the entire sky is the same color, right? So both sides should keep kind of like the same tone. because it's a continuation. Even though the palm tree is right in the middle, it's okay. I think this is okay. And the fact that it's kind of messy like that, and you can see the brush strokes add to the nature or of pattern in the sky. Okay. Now the water, and watch how I, in this time, make sure that I do have more pigment. That's all it takes. Same color, but more pigment. And in a moment, we're gonna even add more pigment at the line here of the horizon. Remember? And then what we're gonna do down here, you see, I pick water, but not too much. It's going to create these lines that are the shore. I'm running out of blue. I'll pick up some blue in a moment. Okay. I do want to show you how the dark blue at the edge of the horizon thus makes us believe that's farther away down in the distance. So here I left some white gaps here where the water breaks the waves. Okay. Just as an effect of the you see those gaps of white. You see these gaps here. Okay, so let's add more blue just at the horizon. Let's pick all that blue pigment here that's hiding right there. Just at the tip and blend it. You know, you see? All right, done with our ocean for now. If I see anything I need to add, then I'll add it. I'm gonna put yellow, but I'm gonna make sure on purpose that I kind of make it a little dirty or beige or brown, so it's not too bright. Okay, down here at the where the sand is. Otherwise, and again, if you see too much pigment, then add more water. Then add more water and keep it light. Add more water and keep it light, because later you can make patches that are going to be brighter or darker or whatever, and that adds to the nature of your image. So basically, you see how you can see a very light yellow. So then now I can come back with more yellow, but just in some spots. Maybe make a line here, maybe make a patch here of darker yellow and a patch here and a patch. You know what I mean? That this creates kind of like more organic, realistic way. And I'm gonna actually here create like a little shade under the palm tree here. I'm gonna make this a little darker with orange, kind of brownish with the orange, to ground this palm tree right here. This is what we did with the pencil, but now I'm doing it with paint. You see how I'm adding a little orangey, and it kind of grounds the palm tree. We did it here with the drawing by shading it a little. And since I have this color here, why not paint my palm tree. I mean, sorry, the at least the trunk of it. Let's see. Yep, that's a lot of pigment, you see? So now all I have to do is take some of the pigment out of my brush and add more water. And that what that does is spreads what's already in the paper. Now what I could do, watch this. I can make the coconuts darker. And I can also make the line patterns that I mark here kind of like dark only here towards the left. And I'll tell you why the left side. Because if you notice, the sun is on the right side. So look how I'm kind of darkening, but just the left side of the palm tree. Very careful with the line and the line patterns here. The bottom I could like make a little, but you see that? All right, let's clean the brush really well. Put our sun, the sun, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna, with the clean brush, I'm gonna grab clean water and I'm gonna kind of scoop all this blue that's in the sun. Basically, I'm cleaning my sun. Now I put yellow on my sun. See that? Awesome. I could actually, with this brownish that I had on my brush, I should have not cleaned it before. Do my mountains down here. Just go over your mountain design. I want you to be delicate, careful, keep your watercolors light, which means more water than pigment. Because that's what actually watercolors are about. Keeping keeping the nature of the transparency of the paper to be seen through. Okay. Now I clean my brush, get some green. I have a bunch of greens down here. Let me see, the camera can capture it. I have some green here, but I'm gonna grab some more from my palette. And I'm gonna start doing the leaves with a fine brush, please. We're gonna find that the dark green later, if you need to do in dark green, what you could do is you could emphasize the spine, the first line of the leaf. You could emphasize it with a darker green so it can distinguish between all this other green from the leaves. Does that? So now don't worry about it. Do all of it green, this same green that you have in your brush. And actually, the fact that it was drawn, that pencil gets on your paint or stays there, and it kind of defines your image, your drawing. So it's very important. It's kind of cool that we drew it beforehand. You see, because the pencil is going to stay, and it's fine in this case. In things that are a little more transparent and light, the pencil can be seen because the artist had to sketch where that thing was going to be. And it's forgiving and it's fine to see the pencil. But the more transparency, the more you can see the pencil. So watch how now I'm gonna try to make my green darker and get in the middle, especially of the palm tree. I'm gonna emphasize the fact that that area here where the coconuts are should be kind of darker because it's a concentration of more green when you think about it. everything kind of is getting concentrated right here. So let's see if I put more green. And look what I'm talking about. I don't even have to darken it. I just get more pure green to make this fine line darker than the other green that we just did. And so it's not just the spine. I'm going to do some of the back leaves. Just not the front ones, these back ones. And that helps us kind of dilute the darkness. And your brush, obviously, as you keep painting, kind of runs out of that pigment. That's fine. Just come and get more. I'm almost finishing. Yeah. Does that make sense that the center is a little darker? I could even make it more. You know? That variety of greens, you see the dark greens with the light greens, create distance and volume. Okay. Okay. So this is a drop of blue that my brush left by me bumping before. So I'm gonna get rid of it by cleaning my brush. Look, cleaning my brush, wetting it, and now with the wet brush, scooping this here. Wet it and scoop it. Or with my tissue, I can also kind of rub it off, try to get as much out as I can. Okay, so remember I said you could dirty the sand. So again, let me put a little more darker than before. Yeah, this is much more darker. So I'm going to emphasize again this curves here of the trunk. So I could dirty my sand, making this darker. See, I love it, and you can create something that goes behind the palm tree by making a line like this and back here, but not on the palm tree. You know what I mean? Okay, so now I'll do some little tiny dots of weird shapes in green back here in the mountains, which actually kind of represents maybe trees in the background. This is really actually how in nature it does behave. So you have fun kind of being a minimalist. You know? Okay. And it could have been blended with the brown. So instead of green, you could also have done it like maybe the conch shell here if you want to paint it. Remember we drew it? See how here is drawn? You could do this drawing here somewhere. I know I'm going to want a sign maybe around here. But let's do the birds. I have told you the birds are like the letter M spread out. Okay. Um, I'm going to use maybe purple because it's really dark. I need to be really dark. It's like a curvy letter M, two bumps, widen it, spread out. Look. This is the letter M. You could use some black too. After you do the M, then you're going to emphasize. I'm going to emphasize with black, or you're going to emphasize the middle here because that's the head. See? And perhaps you build, if you want, you build where this comes out here a little more. You see, I'm building this which is will be the body or the wing coming. Now, if you do a couple more, maybe I'm gonna do maybe three more, but make sure they're all different sizes, because what the different sizes means, it means they are all in different distances. Like um, one could be closer. Oh, sorry, the closer will be obviously the biggest one, and this one down here could be very small. You could even make a dot. For one of them, you could do a dot. Okay, I'm gonna sign and we're done. Look at it, see what's missing. Take your time. Again, I know as I go along, something for you may take a little longer. So um, take your time. Make sure you have a brush. You can sign very well with it. Um, and keep it just for when you sign. For when you sign. But this is it. This time we painted our beach scene. Okay, we drew it here. The video is on the previously, and then here we painted it. And you can play around a little more in the sand if you want. I know in a previous we kind of drew. It was really cool. You could do. I didn't have the mountains, so in this corner we did an umbrella and a towel left by itself, like if someone is coming back. Um, those things are very useful, to be honest, sometimes. So I'll finish with this comment. When you do things related to humans, right, then what that does to the landscape, a picture of nature, sorry, or a landscape, it gives it proportions. So then you can see how big everything else, how far away things are, just because you added an umbrella and a towel. And we know by reference what the size of those things should be. So my last message is, if you look at medieval or Renaissance, actually especially Renaissance landscapes, and they're beautiful, and even up to the 17th, 18th century, gorgeous landscapes, huge, and then there's one little person in the corner, or a party of people, or a wagon. What those human characteristics add to the picture is just proportions. Then actually you can see, oh, okay, this is immense, or this is big, or it helps to put things in perspective. If those things weren't there, you will struggle a little understanding how big the rock is, or the vegetation, especially rocks, because rocks could be any different sizes, unless you have some point of reference, which the human was in what my point was to be. Great. So awesome. This is we'll keep doing a few more watercolors maybe, but I hope this combination now of drawing and painting helps you controlling a little more what is it that you're going to be painting. In the past, I know we did a lot of painting, not drawing, but the good thing about that was we pinned those skills, right, that we needed for watercolor. Great. I'll see you next time. I hope you have a great week. Stay safe.